Welcome back, everybody. Um, so since our last video, I've done quite a bit off camera. I just kind of got in the sewing mood and just kind of kept going without filming. But we didn't do too much. So the last place we had left off was we had sewn um, the bodice front to the skirt front, and then um, off camera, I pressed that seam downward, and then next I went on to work on piece number 3, which is the bodice back, and the skirt back, which is piece number 4. Piece number 3, the bodice back here, required 2 darts at the top. So I put those 2 darts in here. And also it required 2 pleats at the bottom. So I did my 2 pleats down here at the bottom. Let's see. If I turn it over, you might be able to get a little bit better view of it. But these are my 2 pleats down here, and my 2 darts here and here. And then so after that, we had to sew the skirt back together, and then basically attach the bodice back to the skirt back, similar to how we attach the bodice front to the skirt front. And then once we did that, I basically sewed, pinned the front to the back, the bodice front to the bodice back, and the skirt front to the skirt back, and pinned those up together and sewed them. And then also after that, the directions called for while you were sewing the 2 sides up on one of the sides, we actually had to leave a gap open. So that is what I did here. And then this gap is for the tie to go through here, so you can wrap your dress around yourself. So basically with our instructions here, here's the sides we had to sew up, and the gap was left open on the right side of what ends up being the right side of the dress. Did some blind stitching to make that look nice. I could have done it a little bit better. I just kind of did regular stitching since my thread is white, and this is such a vibrant and it's not very easy to see. So we did that, and next I basically sewed the belt together. The belt was 2 pieces. Well, 4 total pieces, but 2 pieces per belt side. You have a belt side that's on the right and one's on the left. So those together, gave them a nice press. Had to turn them from inside out to the right side out. And then attach them to the sides of the openings of the dress. So basically, we have our two ties here attached to the front of our dress. Okay. All right. And so so it's basically we got a good amount of the dress mostly done. We just gotta work on the next part is attaching the collar. attaching the front facing and then attaching the sleeves and the cuffs. I have not decided uh, if I wanted to put the cuffs on or not. A lot of other videos that I've watched, some of the people ended up omitting the cuff or either omitting the collar. So I think I'm gonna keep the collar, um, and we'll see about the cuffs. Um, these are the cuffs here. So they go to the bottom of the sleeves. Have not decided on the cuffs, so we'll see how the collar looks on top of everything, and then we'll go from there. All right, so now we're gonna pick back up with our attaching our collar or putting together our collar, and then um, interfacing it, getting it stitched, and then attaching it to the top of the collar, the neck area of the dress. So the first thing our instructions call for us to pick back up with is we're gonna stay stitch the neck edge of the dress along our collar here. So on our dress, we're basically gonna put a stitch right along this area here, and I think it also goes up into here as well. All right. And so it says we're supposed to stay stitched between the two large dots. Let's flip our dress to see if we can find those dots again. I'm just gonna look here. Okay, so I think so I see we're supposed to have a triangle here, and then I think our dot is here. I can see a very faint one, but I think it's there. So we're stitching all the way around there to here, along our collar. And the stay stitch, the instructions say there's going to be a stitch 1/8 inches from the seam line in the seam allowance to create the stay stitch. So that is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and we'll move over to our sewing machine. All right, so now we are at the sewing machine, and we're going to put in that 1/8 inch of a stitch. I'm probably going to do right here. I think it's a little bit more than an eighth, because our fourth, I think, is here. So just for ease of doing this, I'm just gonna follow on this marking here. So we'll just do that. All right, so we're gonna go forward and go backwards. Okay, go forward again. It's gonna readjust my fabric a little bit, and to make sure that that seam allowance underneath is pointed down in the right way there. Okay, now we're gonna start following the curve of the collar here. Just gonna rotate my fabric a little bit here. All right, we'll continue with our sewing here. I just started repositioning my fabric here. Move it over a little bit more. Then we're gonna pivot here. And just gonna keep follow our line here. Oops. I'm gonna turn my speed down a little bit. Let's try to get back on track here. Over a little bit too far. That's okay. I think this is all gonna be within our seam allowance anyway. Gonna try to put the speed back up again here. Let's pivot our fabric a little bit. We're almost to the other end here. To our other dot. Okay. And this is our stopping point down here. All right, and back up a couple stitches. And that is going to be it for that stay stitch around the corner, or around the collar, excuse me. All right. So we got that stay stitched. All right. And we're going to move back over to the table so we can take a look at what we did here. All right. We are back at the table here. Just gonna adjust my camera a little bit here. And let's see our stay stitch here. It's a little hard to see, but we did our stitch here around the collar and down to the front end to this dot here. You can see it a little bit, but there it is. You can see we ran all the way around through the neck and then back down to the other end there. All right, so we're gonna put our dress to the side And our next steps have us working back on uh, piece number 6, which is the collar and the interface piecing that also goes with the collar. So let's grab those pieces. All right. Okay. So this is our collar piece. We have cut 2 on the fold and then cut 1 on the fold of the interfacing. So we have 2 pieces of fabric and 1 piece of interfacing here. And there are 2 pieces for the collar. And this is our pattern piece. And let's see, I'm just gonna look at what kind of markings we have to be looking out for. So we got a triangle here, should be triangle there at the top, or a slit, which it is. Then we have 2 circles, well, 3 circles, 1 here and then 2 here and here. And that's it for our markings. So we'll put that pattern piece to the side and let's go back to our directions. It says apply the interfacing number 6 to the wrong side of 1 collar 6 section. So we're going to basically pick one of our fabric pieces and we're gonna apply our interfacing to the wrong side of that piece. So I think I'm gonna do this piece. The other piece was marked a little bit better. So we're gonna do this since we have to cover up our interfacing. Let's see. And there's our slits here. Trying to make sure everything's all lined up here. So we'll do that. Okay. All right, so we have our interfacing here. So what I'm going to do, so we're going to first pin. So we're on the wrong side, pinning to the wrong side. That's correct. Then we're going to make sure we are rough side down, which we were not. Now we are. And let's get this pinned with our all metal pins. And then we'll iron, we'll steam base, and then we'll iron and press steam to get everything permanently applied here. All right, just trying to make sure everything is lined up with this piece here. I'm gonna pull it down just a little bit. We'll throw our pin, put our pin in the center, and then we'll try to iron out from there. Trying to make sure everything is lined up the best we can here. May put some on the end first. And we'll put one on the end on this side here. There's a couple down here. Let's see, all my pins are somewhere. A little hard to see on the pin cushion. And having a little bit of difficulty gripping everything. I just got my nails redone today. This is the supposed to be cat's eye effect. The nail artist like took a magnet and waved it over the nail polish, and it was able to create this pretty cool looking sheen here. But it always takes me a couple of days to kind of get used to my nails again after I get them done. Let's see, put one more here. I think that's gonna be good enough for us, at least to do our steam based and move on from there. All right, so with this interfacing steam based, let me just take a quick look at my instructions again, because I always forget. Let's see. Pin steam based on the edges with tip of iron. Then you remove the pins. So we're gonna set our iron over here so it can be getting ready for us. All right. And then we have our pressing cloth over there. It's not damp anymore, but that's okay. And also, we now have a new addition. I finally got my tabletop ironing board to come in, so I'm super excited to use that. So I don't have to use the towel anymore, and I have a nice flat surface an actual flat surface to iron on. And it's really nice. I got this one off of Amazon. I can put the info in the comments, so you can just comment on the video if you want to know more information about where I got this one from. But it's nice. It's got a iron stand here where you can rest the iron, so that's very, very cool, very helpful. All right, so we're gonna sit it here, rest our iron, and to, I think it's ready to go. Yep. All right. So let's steam baste. Just making sure I'm getting those edges down here. All right. And let's remove our pins. And then we'll get our pressing cloth and do our 10-second count to permanently fuse the interfacing to this collar piece here. All right, so we remove those. Looks pretty good. Let's get our pressing cloth. All right, I'm gonna bump up the iron a little bit more so we can get that steam going. All right, so we're gonna do our 10 seconds for steam and our 10-second count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna tilt our iron up because our safety feature is on there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that should be good enough. All right, just gonna throw our pressing cloth to the side, and I think we are all interfaced here. Looks nice and smooth. All right. Okay, so we got that done, and then it says stitch. I'm gonna turn my iron back down here. Stitch the remaining collar section to the interface collar section, and we're gonna leave the neck edge open, which is the neck edge is the side with the 2 notches here at the top. So there's a notch and there's a notch. So we're gonna leave this open here, and so we're gonna stitch from here all the way around to here. And yeah, then after that we're gonna trim the seam to 3/16, which is a pretty tiny seam. So we'll trim that after we stitch everything, and then you're gonna turn the collar inside out to the right side. We're gonna press it and then baste our raw edges here, and then it calls to top stitch on the outer edge of the collar, which I may or may not do since I'm just using white thread. I'm not really using a contrasting thread, so even if I do top stitch, we won't be able to see the stitching. It's more, I think, of a design choice. So we'll probably just skip the top stitching. If I was to top stitch, I'd probably top stitch like in a a black thread, probably. All right, so let's get our other piece. We'll get everything pinned. So this is going to be pinning. Let's see. Trying to figure out how I'm supposed to put this. So we did our interfacing to the wrong side, and then I think we're going to slip back, trying to see which is the right way to flip this here. So we got our interfacing on. So it's gonna be wrong side like this, I think. I'm just trying to make sure I have the right side flipped because the interface is going to be like on the inside. So, but yeah, normally you stitch right side to right side, or yeah, right sides down. So that is true here, I think. I'm just gonna double check again, because let's think about this. Because when we flip, we'll pin it first and just check our logic on this. So we're just gonna put a couple pins in here to see if we got everything flipped or turned correctly. Actually, that edge is gonna be open. This one's gonna be closed or stitched. I'm just gonna throw a couple pins in here just for a sanity check to make sure we're flipping everything on the right side before we permanently stitch everything together. All right, so once we get that, if that's stitched together and then we flip, yeah, I think I gotta turn, I gotta turn my interfacing side. I gotta flip it. Yep, okay. Yep, I thought so. I'm glad I did a sanity check on that. Because if we flip it, we'll have the interfacing be on the outside, which is not what we want to do. Okay, so we gotta put right side to right side, which makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't even really say, tell you to flip it back in the instructions. But I guess they are assuming that you know that it's supposed to be right side to right side here. But that's a pretty big assumption, especially if you are a new sewer like me. So we're just gonna place some pins here. Around the edges where we're gonna do our seam. make sure everything is flat, because we have that fold there from our fabric, because this was a piece that we cut on the fold, so the fold is still there. And maybe should have pressed it down, but we're gonna just make sure that everything is pinned down, and that should be good enough, I think, to keep everything in place pretty good. And hopefully this interfacing gives enough structure to this collar, which I think that was the main purpose of us putting that one piece on the inside there. I think some of the videos that I watched, people actually interface, I think they interfaced both pieces, and they ended up with a very structured and stiff collar. If that's what the look that they were going for, then yeah, it turned out that way. But I think we'll just stick with the instructions and do one piece of interfacing. All right, and then this is supposed to be open. From here to here will be open. All right, so I think we're ready to go back to our sewing machine. So we'll swap over to there. And I'm gonna bring a piece over with this. And so it says, yeah, okay. So we're gonna sew these. Let's start. Just gonna reset my sewing machine here. All right, and make sure we're on our 5/8 here, which we are. I think it actually wants us to start on that dot, so we'll start there. At least that's what the instructions said. All right, from dot to dot. Okay, so let's get sewing here. We'll start slow first. We'll do our forwards, then our backwards. Forwards again. And remove that pin. Grab our pin cushion here. Move our camera in a little bit closer there. fabric buckling a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and take out that pin. All right, let's see if because we got a pivot. So I'm just checking to see if I went down far enough here before we pivot. Yeah, actually we went down a little too far because we're gonna be way off of our 5/8. So let me see. I think I may back up a couple stitches. Let's do that. All right, and then now let's try to pivot. Yeah, that's a lot better. So we may have to try to pick those out once we come over to get finished with this stitch here. It's actually a little bit off of my 5/8 line there. I need to start using my seam guide because sometimes I'm looking at the line that's in between the 5/8 and the 7/8 instead of the 5/8 line. Just gonna speed up a little bit. Got a little bit of a buckle for some reason in our fabric here. Try to, because we definitely don't want a buckle in our piece. Let's slow it back down. Let's see if we can remedy that. Yeah, it might be because I don't have my fabric piece straight here. Let's just try to straighten it out a little bit because I have to go under my camera here. Let's see if that'll straighten it out a little bit. Hopefully that'll straighten it out enough and it'll fix itself. Let's try to lift up and try to get that fabric a little bit flatter, hopefully. Hopefully it'll smooth out, it'll fix itself. Just trying to avoid a crease from being in there. But it may not work itself out until after the fact when we get down here on the end. Just need to make sure our piece is still together though. Okay, just gonna speed up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure why we have that big wrinkle there. Let's see if we can straighten that out a little bit. But maybe it'll fix itself down here. Just seems like our fabric got shifted a little bit, some kind of way, as we were sewing, which is not necessarily the best thing, but see if we can smooth out this way. Yeah, because I'm really trying to not have that there, but something is definitely going on here. Not sure why we got so shifted somewhere. I may have to repin here at the end. I think we have enough seam allowance to like fix it. Okay, so let's turn, go down a little bit more, and then let's get ready to pivot. See where we are, see if we're down far enough here. I think we're way, we got a couple more to go here. Now let's see. Okay, put it back down. Pivot a little bit more here. All we're trying to do is have a straight collar. All right, that's our dot. Now we'll go back a couple stitches. Go forward a couple. All right, and we'll lift up and let's see how we did. We're definitely having some issues there. So let's go back. We'll go back to the table. let's see how we did. Okay. So it looks fairly straight. I think I may pick out these few here where I had to go back. And then it's kind of, it looks pretty good, I think. So we'll go ahead and trim. We'll pick and then we'll trim those edges off. And then also we can go ahead and trim. It says to trim seam to 3/16. So we'll get out a ruler and check and see where that is, where that puts us here. Yeah, not quite sure why it was wrinkling up the way it was. Maybe it's because of the interfacing underneath it. Not quite sure. But yeah, it's definitely a little. We got a little pucker here where our fold was. So let's see if we can pick out these guys here. Because we went down a little too far. So let's just take those guys out. And we'll trim. And I think that should be okay. As far as the stitch coming loose there at the corner, I guess we will find out. Yeah, I may need to do, let's just see what's going on here. Yeah, my thread's coming loose, so I think I'm gonna just do re-sew over this part, just to reinforce what we have so it won't come loose. I'd rather fix it now than try to fix it after the dress is done. So let's try to get back under here. Yeah, I needed to turn this way, and then we pivot. So, just gonna do a few. See if we can get back to where we were. And just gonna, yep, okay, we're right on it. So I'm just gonna pivot here. May do, let's see, pivot right here, and then just do a few there. Back up a little bit. And then I think I'm gonna, so we backed up, and then I think I'm gonna back up again to go over those. Hopefully this is all straight enough. Oops, wrong direction. Okay, I think that's enough before we mess up our little corner here. It's gonna probably look interesting on the outside, but we'll see. Because I did the same thing. I went forward a little too much there, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and go back to the table. And see what we gotta fix here. So let's cut our strings. Okay. I think I'm just gonna leave it and we'll see how it goes. All right, so let's go ahead and trim. Now we're gonna trim our seam allowances down. It said to 3/16. Let me get a ruler and see how much that is. 3/16. 3/16. 4, 12, 16. So 3/16. So it's about almost a fourth, down to a fourth. So we'll just kind of eyeball it. It's about right here. So we'll trim those down. Just following our seam line here, trying to make sure that we're not cutting too close to the seam line. But we're basically almost cutting our seam allowance like in half, just about here, once we get finished trimming. Okay, move our scraps over to the side. All right, so now we got that trimmed. Let's see. Trim, leaving the neck edge open, and then it says to turn it, press it, and then baste the raw edges together. So this is the raw edges here, and that'll be where we actually connect the collar to the dress, is up here. So let's go ahead and turn it and see how everything looks. I may have to get my little tool out to get to those corners. Hopefully they look sharp enough for a collar. Let's see, let me get my turner tool is somewhere. There it is. This is my little poking tool here where we can use it to get into the corners after you turn something. Let's see, I think we're pretty good there. Don't want to poke too hard because you don't want to poke through. That's for sure. Yeah, I'll probably press my seam open first and then go back and press again. But we'll go ahead and turn it just to see how it looks, and then we'll turn it back. Just kind of working through there. So there's our collar. So you can see our seams there. Maybe you can press, if I press that down, that'll help. When I try to press here, I might just be able to do it like this first. Let's see, I'll try to see what's the best way to do it. I might have to get out my tailor's ham, and like press this open first and then try. Or I may just try to do it through this way and just press it this way. Press everything over. Press everything down to one side and then try to go back and press it. But let's just try. We'll try to see what we can do. Okay. Move our tool over here. And let's get our iron back. It's very convenient having this little stand here. So we're gonna bump our iron back up. And the top stitching, actually kind of seeing maybe why they want you to top stitch now. It may be to get everything to lay down properly for the collar. So may still have to go back and do that. Let's see if we can press this down correctly. And just taking our time to kind of work our way down here. This press. Just trying to make sure everything is pressed down correctly. Definitely don't want the collar all wrinkly. Okay, looks pretty good. Give it a press on the other side too. And I'll try to see if I can get that corner out a little bit more. It may be the best it's gonna be, but let's just try, because it's not as pointy as it should be. And I only get one chance to do it once we close up, once we base that edge. Okay, that looks a lot better. Just gonna set that in. Okay. Making sure the steam doesn't get toward this camera there. All right, so there's our collar. It's got a little bit of, not too much structure to it, but enough. And then so our instructions say we're gonna baste here our raw edge, and I guess I'll go ahead and do the top stitch because it may keep the collar, keep the fabric of the collar stable. So we will do that, even though you probably won't be able to see it. Okay, so I'm going to turn my iron back off here. And actually, I think I'm gonna turn my board because I'm right-handed, and so I used to setting my iron down on that side, not the opposite side. So we'll go ahead and turn that and move that out the way. And so we're gonna baste here, and then we're gonna top stitch here. So let's go back to our sewing machine. So it says we're gonna baste first and then top stitch. So baste, what I normally do is I usually just run a really long stitch. So I bump my stitch length all the way up as high as it'll go. And that is how I do my base stitch. Okay. And so I think we run base is usually I think the base usually base inside inside of your seam allowance. And just double checking here. No, I think we can still do the 5/8. It's just the base though. All right, so we'll get at our 5/8 here. That puts us about there. Let's try to make it straight a little bit. Turn our speed down first. I really want to sew faster, but I'm very I'm very heavy footed, so apparently. So I have to be careful when I'm going fast. It gets a little bit out of control. So that's why most of the time I just stay on the low setting. And that's exactly how I drive too. I'm very heavy footed when I drive, so I always have to watch my speed. Okay, just gonna lift our seam up there. Oh, and it looks like our bobbin actually ran out. Okay, well that's good where it ran out where it did. At least I don't have to rebase this. It looks like we at least had enough to get our base done here. So I am going to stop so I can change out my bobbin, and then we'll pick back up and do that top stitching. All right, and welcome back. So I got that bobbin changed out, and I decided to just go ahead and finish doing the top stitching on the collar off camera. So I just kind of did that really quick. You can see it a little bit here. But it's very very light since it is white on off-white background. All right, so I'm gonna just snip the threads on some of that. I'm not gonna snip our basting stitches, our base threads, because we're gonna need to use those to pull we're gonna need to use those when we pull our basting stitch out. So I'm just gonna pull you out of the way there, and then I'm gonna snip this one. Okay. And do the same thing for this side. Leave the basing stitch for later. Okay. Okay. So we got those. Got our top stitch done, and then forgot these two over here. I was having an issue with the corner, so I had to restart my stitch over here. For some reason the needle wasn't advancing. It got hung up in this corner. Maybe it was just a little too bulky due to that inner spacing that's under there. So that's pretty much done. So the next instructions. So now we're going to pin the collar to the neck edge of the dress. It says interfaced side up. Placing the small dots at the shoulder seams and clipping the dress where necessary. And then we're going to baste. So let's get our dress. It's going to clean up a little bit too over here. Okay, gotta get our dress. So I have it sitting on my mannequin at the moment. So I'm just gonna pull it off of there. Very gently. Bring it over here. Let's just look at the instructions again. So this is gonna be, wants us to do this right side out. Okay, so I'll try to pin this. Pin it. Oh, I'm just gonna turn it this way so it won't. The dress won't slide off the table. Okay, so we're just basically should be taking, says interface side up, interfaced side up, which not quite sure what it particularly means for that, since the interfacing is on the inside as far as I know. Interfacing side up. So I'm just gonna pick a side. I think this is the side we want up, because this other side's a little wonky, but we'll do this side up. So when we have the dress, we want I think the collar will stand up. If we do it like this, yeah, because I think that's the side we would want everyone to see is this side. So it'll look like so. So I'm not quite sure what the instructions mean as far as interface side up, since we can't actually see the interface. But I mean, I guess under here, the interface is on the upside. So we'll just we will just do what we can. We'll pick this side. And so you're supposed to line up the notches that we have. And okay, placing the small dots. So our dots maybe at our shoulder seams. So let's just see where our notches are here. And the notch on here is here. So we're gonna line those up there and there. And it should be lining up here, which it is, which is good. It's pretty much lining up to our dots here. And then our other dot here is on that shoulder seam. And then this dot is on this shoulder seam here, here. And our notches. So I think we're pretty much lined up. So let's go ahead and get that pen. And we'll pin it. Pin, and it does not, it says based. So it does not say stitch, just says based there. So I'm assuming we're going to probably stitch it through some other piece as well. What I am going to do is I am going to clip my my stay stitched strings here, just to clean things up a little bit because it's getting a little stringy, to kind of see where everything is. Okay. All right. So yeah, so that's our shoulder seam there. So it just says to make sure that we're lined up with our shoulder seam with our X's. So here's my X's there. So we're gonna line it up right here. I think that gets us close. Just checking a couple things here. So we definitely don't want the collar to be looking all wonky. That's for sure. So just trying to make sure we're lined up here while we're pinning. Just taking another peek at our shoulder seam. Should be here. I think we're right on it, so that's good. It's great when everything lines up the way it's supposed to. Okay, and we'll just continue pinning, making sure everything is nice and flat, because now we have quite the bulk of fabric here. Because now we have the dress, we have the collar, which has interfacing in the middle, and then the other side of the collar. So that is at least 5 pieces. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, sorry, 4 pieces of fabric that we're trying to line up and keep together. And we're doing this on a curve of the collar, so that is a feat in itself as well. That we're trying to navigate around. And it looks like just gonna look at the other end here to make sure our stuff is lined up here. May have to ease that, since that is a curved piece. Okay, just gonna double check there. Okay, we're gonna pin this part down first. And then we'll just have to kind of ease around this part, which we are gonna need to do since it is slightly curved. Don't necessarily, maybe we should keep it flat together. I don't know if it's gonna buckle or not. As we're kind of pinning around here, because it's not very curved, it's slightly curved. It's definitely not straight. So I'm just gonna repin here, see if we can help with some of this bunchiness, because that's gonna affect us when we're trying to sew. It's not good. Okay, and then I'll put one here at the end. Okay. All right, so we got that. So now we have our collar pinned to our dress here, and hopefully this won't buckle and get all lumpy when we do our base here. So let's get ready. We'll go ahead and go back to the sewing machine. Just gonna switch back over here. I'm gonna grab our dress. and it just basically tells us the base. And then it says to clip the dress where necessary. So yeah, it says to clip it. So like since this is on a curve, you can clip along the curve to make it lay more smoothly. Okay. All right, so let's see. It's gonna move our camera for a second while we position our dress underneath, and then I'll put it back. All right, so we're gonna try to slide our fabric under here. Do our 5/8. Then I'm gonna go ahead and move this pin out of the way. And then let's put our camera back. There we go. And just trying to check the other angle on the webcam. Just gotta reset that one really quick. All right, so now we're back in business on that one. Okay. All right. So now we're ready. So let's get back over to our 5/8 line here. And since we're gonna base, gonna do a really long stitch because that is not our final stitch. It's just a stitch we're using to hold things together. So that is why. Okay, and then I'm gonna do really long all the way up to 5 for us. And we're gonna start off slow, and let's go ahead and let's go for it. And take out the pin here. Take out the pin there. And one more pin here. Just kind of Ooh, checking underneath here. Glad I looked because we got a little bit of bunching for our dress there. I'm hoping it didn't bunch on the other end, or we may have to pull the thread and do this over again here. Really having some separation going on here. Which I guess is why we based, so we can see how things are looking. It's just a little difficult with my camera right here. Oh, forgot to put my foot down here. Just taking a peek underneath here to make sure things aren't wrinkling under there. It's kind of hard to tell mid-stitch there. But we'll see how good the base looks once we get finished here. We may have to take it out and do it again, repin and do it again. I'm hoping not though. Take a pin out there. And notice we're kind of way off of our 5/8. Definitely like within that seam allowance. Hopefully that won't be too bad. I'll try to bring it back over a little bit here. But yeah, we're almost at a 1/4. Try to bring it back over. Okay, and that was our base, so let's check it out. And we're gonna go back over to the table and check out our work. Okay, let's see how we did. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Just looking at the audio and everything. Okay, let's just see how our base and stitch did. Okay, it's a little wonky for sure. And I may not end up liking it. Just looking. It looks like we did okay until we got here. We got a little bit of a crinkle, which I Just right there, just at this spot right here, we got a crinkle some kind of way. I'll hold that up to the camera. So I guess now we're at the point as to, do I just leave it or do I take everything apart and try to redo it here? Yeah, I think I may just take it apart because I really don't want a crinkle there. So I think it's a good thing that's what basting is for. So if we need to redo something, we can. But it's not too bad though. So maybe just leave it. It's just something there that I know is there. But we may not even end up seeing it if the collar is gonna be folded over it, you know? So yeah, now that I think about it, it's gonna be folded over, so you're not really even gonna be able to see that part of it, because the dress will be like this. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna leave it. All right, so let's see what we got to do next. Okay, so next will be, so we're done with attaching a collar to the dress. So the next thing we'll be working on the front facing sections. Um, so here are the front facing sections. So we'll have to piece and stitch these together. Pieces 9, 7, 8, 7, and 9, or 7, 8, and 9. And then that then goes along the front facing line of the dress. So let's go ahead and get those pieces together, and we will start there, and we'll just start that in a new video. Okay, so like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next part.